Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today is another of my Christmas vlogs. It is probably the last week that I'm going to be doing this. So today I decided that I'm going to be using some cardboard, some poster board, some tissue paper, and a random assortment of other little leftover Christmas supplies that I have, and some may not be Christmas, but I'm going to be using a random amount of little items that maybe you'll have in your home that you can create something for just a last minute project for your Christmas. So let's get to crafting. Alright, so on my table here I've got a cardboard box. These are from the inside of your paper napkins, rolled paper napkins. I had this was from a roll of deco mesh, or maybe it was from some burlap. But that's what I got this piece from. I've got another piece of paper or cardboard that is from some ribbon. I think I want to use this inside bit here. I don't know, maybe I'll use that one as well. And I have a cardboard box. I don't know if I mentioned that, but there's some cardboard there that I want to use. I also have this oatmeal container. It's cardboard. It has a plastic lid. I have two of them just in case one of them kind of messes up on me. So anyway, this is what I have. You can use any size. I'm using this. If you don't even have to go for anything round. This is going to be the shape of my little house. This is going to be the body, but you can use like a little square box, or maybe create one. You could use foam board for that if you want to do that, or some cardboard. I have a package of white tissue paper that I think I'm going to use as well. And on my table here, you don't really see it, but I've got a large poster board. Well, it's a regular size poster board is what I meant. So I was going to say a large piece, but it's a complete poster board. So I have that, and I'm going to start off by using a pencil, maybe something to measure with, and I've just got some regular glue. I've got my masking tape here. I think I'm going to be using Mod Podge, but I also have my hot glue gun going. The first thing that I want to do is I want to create some sort of a little roof for this. So this is where I think I want to use my poster board. So let me remove some of these items, and also we'll remove this one here because we're not going to use one of them. Water over here. Okay, so I want to take my poster board and create like a cone. And I'll pick up my scissors in a moment. And I want to make it kind of a fairly wide because I want it to go on top of this, but I don't want it to be too tall. So I'm going to see how I can make this. And I'm going to be using the opening. Oops, it still got some oatmeal funnies in there. Okay, so I'm going to be using the opening as the bottom, but I'm going to be using the lid. I'm not going to glue it on, but I am going to be using the lid as where it will stand basically. And the reason that I'm not going to glue the lid on is because I think I want to put some lights in there. So I want to make it a lighted Christmas house. I don't think I said that at the very beginning, but that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Okay, so I don't want to glue this on here as of yet. We're going to see how I can do all of this. So let's start with the shape of our cone. So we're going to bring this in like I said. And I'm just going to do this with my pencil. Let's see. Just roughly do that with my pencil. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out and go all the way to this little corner because I'm not really sure where I'm going to cut it yet. I just want to do a nice wide cone. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so any leftover poster board, we're going to put it to the side because we're going to be using that. Actually, let me go ahead and just grab these two items. Put this on the floor. Okay. And I don't even remember. Oh yeah, this is the side that I was curling in. I can tell because it's kind of bent. So I wanted to meet up this with this. Now I could just hot glue it and just hold it till it's actually glued on. But for now I'm going to use some masking tape. Just temporarily tape it. And you want to make sure that this is like the little tip is, closed up. Okay, so now we're going to put this in there. And I don't want a big tall cone for the roof, but that's the best that I can do. So that's where I'm going to do this. So for now, I'm going to trim. I'm going to go around. Okay, so that's way in there. It's kind of steep, but I kind of like that. Okay. I'm just kind of marking it. I'm not really like being perfect at it. Okay, so wherever I marked it, now I can cut upwards And like I said, I'm not going to go all the way up to the pencil line. I'm going to go a little bit because I want it to overlap like that on my little roof here. So hopefully I'm doing this right. Okay, so that works for me. I like that. Right here, we're going to get this round house with this oatmeal container. I think it's going to look kind of cottagey, kind of elfin. Or what is that other little critter that's really popular right now? What are those little things called? Y'all tell me because I can't remember right now. I will later. Alright, so I'm going to go to my next step. Alright, so basically the next step is just to glue this because we don't want it to move on us, and we can take that tape off of there. Just glue that down. Okay, so we're going to leave that to dry. We want to remember that this is the bottom of our house, so I'm going to put some masking tape because I don't want to put anything where the lid is going to go over, because then it might not fit later when I want to put it back on. I'll clean out the inside in a moment, but let's get this on here. This is just a piece of masking tape to mark right here, or you can just use your marker or something to mark that. We're going to decorate this, so we don't want any of the decoration to go any further than that. Okay, so I'm going to use this bit here. You can use anything that's in a circle shape that you like, you know, the size. Okay, so then we're going to do a little window, what will be the second floor of our little house, or maybe it's a little church. It's up to you, because it does have a very, you know, steepy little roof there, so that could be like the church steeple. Okay, I'm just trying to remove as much of this little paper as I can around the edges here. I'm using this side because it's lighter colored and I can see my pencil lines, so otherwise it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to draw, yep, there we go, a circle. Can you see that? With my pencil. And now I want to come with a, you know, a nice little sharp craft knife, which I'm going to grab right now so that I can cut that out. I also want to make, you know, the little front door on the first floor here. So I'm going to use my ruler here, and I'm going to make a line going down from the kind of the center, kind of eyeball it, in the center of my window, so I can center my little door under it. Yeah, okay, so I know that these lines that I made here are the center of my doorway, and I kind of like the width of this, or maybe twice that. Is that too wide? Let me go with these 2 inches. Thankfully this is a quilter's ruler, so it's got all kinds of lines on it. So I'm just going to make a line on each side of it. And then I can decide how tall I want it to be. Let's see, what am I doing here? About 3.5 inches, because remember, we're not counting this part here. We're not decorating that. So we're going to do about, oops, I was going at 4.5. So we're going to do about 3.5, and then we're going to mark that. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm also going to use a little bit of masking tape, because, you know, the pencil line is not very visible. So if you want to use a marker, use that. Okay, where am I? Oh, here I am. I'm going to mark the top line here, and then the side here, and then the other side as well. Okay, like that. So this is where a little door is going to go. I'm not going to make an open door. I'm just making, you know, marking where a door would be. But I am going to put like a little window on it. So I'm going to do like a little half moon. Again, you could do this, you know, with some sort of a template. I'm just going to use my pencil to kind of draw a little half moon here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a Sharpie so I can mark this so that you can see it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've marked the little half moon there. I don't know if you can see it. And I also marked my circle up here, and then my little half moon right here, so that I can see that where it's at. So now I can go ahead and grab my little craft knife and cut those 2 out. Okay, so I'm just using my little craft knife and I'm just cutting a little bit at a time because this cardboard is pretty thick. All right, so next I'm going to create like a little frame to go around my window here and this other little window. So I'm going to use these pieces of cardboard. So I'm going to use this same circle to measure out the circumference of the opening. Okay, so then I can cut a new hole that big, but then I also want to make it about, I don't know, half an inch or so wide. So I'm going to cut around that to create a little frame around my window. I'm going to use my scissors. Cut that way and just cut a bunch of little slits and then go around and cut out the inner part here. Okay, so here's what I did is I cut these little slits so that I can now do this. See that? Okay. And now we can go ahead and try and cut them with our scissors or even our little craft knife. Alright, so now I have that little shape cut out and that will be the frame around this window here. So now we need one for this one. I'm going to see if this is big enough and put this right here and then just trace the opening here. I think so. So let's cut this part off here and then we'll cut straight. Okay, so I've got that little opening done there. And now I can cut kind of the same width as I did this. So that'll fit there and this will fit right here. Okay, so before I glue it on, I want to make like a little cross like that on the windows. Alright, so for the window, the round window, I want to make a little cross like that. So I'm going to cut, how wide is that? It's about a 1/4 inch. We're going to hot glue this. Let's do the first one on here. And I'll do it on the opposite side so you can see the red there, so you can see the difference of what, so you know what I'm talking about. So this is the glossy side, doesn't really matter. I'm going to put this side down. So we have that, but see how it's not protruding out of the edges, but if it was, you would just trim them. So I'm going to cut another one about the same and just crisscross that. We'll just put it on there like so. Okay, and then this can now be placed on here, but I'm not going to put it on yet, so let's just wait. I'm going to do the same to this one, except I think I'm going to do one coming up this way and then two kind of slanted, and I'm actually going to go a little bit thinner, straightening this out a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit thinner. I'm going to take one piece in the center here. Wait, this is the front. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll use the other side as the front. Okay, so then we cut off the excess right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one in half now that I have it here. And then we'll have it come from kind of meeting that one over here. Like that. Okay. So that they're glued like that, and then from the front they'll look like this. Okay, so for my door frame I'm actually going to use a thicker cardboard, and I'm going to use the one from the box so that I can get a nicer, like thicker frame like I did for the little windows here. And so now I want to cut like little bricks. So these are going to be about 1/2 inch wide. Yeah, about 1 inch. Just kind of guesstimate. They don't all have to be exactly the same. And I'm probably going to want to cut a whole bunch of these, but I'll start with this first so that I can show you what I'm going to do. So these are going to be bricks, and I'm not going to put them everywhere. I'm just going to put them ever so often here and there. And you can just use your regular white glue if you want to glue them on like that way, or use your hot glue gun. So create a little, and don't worry about the tape. If you want to take it off, take it off. This is the side of my door, so I'm going to go a little bit off to the side of it. And then put 2 little bricks, put them kind of separate along each other like that. And you can do this as many as you want. I'm going to put one underneath, leaving spaces where the grout would be. So just do as much as you want. Little bits like that. Do as much as you want everywhere all the way around if you want. Or if you want to completely cover it with that, then maybe start at the bottom and work your way up. And there we go. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to glue a whole bunch of these everywhere and I'll be back with the next step. Okay, so I've cut out all the little brick shapes that I want to do. And that's all I want to cover this with. So I want to do something similar to our little roof here. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape because it is dry now. So let's remove that. You don't have to remove it. You're going to be doing some covering with some tissue paper, so you probably don't have to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Okay, so now I want to do some little type of shingles on here, and I could do the same idea by cutting out pieces of poster board like I did the little bricks, but this time maybe instead of just ½ an inch, maybe about 1 inch wide by 1 inch or so. You can cut out little squares like that. And I would start by putting a row of them all the way across the bottom, and then in between each one overlap. But I would also cut, you know, the little corners, give them some little dog ears like that, you know, like a picket fence. So you want to cut a whole bunch of these, like a 1 by 1. Now I have these in my little wood collection. These are like little shingles. These are made for your doll houses, so you can find these type of things where you find the dollhouse supplies to create the shingles on their little roofs. But you could also get some thin balsa wood and cut these out yourself. But like I said, you can use poster board or even some cardboard, whatever you want to use, cardstock or whatever. I'm going to use these just because I happen to have them and I've had them for years, and I don't even remember why I bought them in the first place, but I'm going to use those. So the first row, I'm just going to put them down like that, one right next to the other. Now hopefully when I'm done, this will sort of meet up and be even, but I'm not going to worry about it because that'll be the back. So I'm going to work my way this way. This little seam here, I want this to be the back of my house. So I'm going to work my way this way and then my way this way, and I'll be back once I've got all those pieces on there. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I put all the pieces all the way around, and right here where I had a little space, I just cut a little piece. I just sliced off a piece of one of them and then put that in there. Okay, so that's going to be the back, like I said. So now I'm going to add more of these, and like I said, when I start the second row, I wanted to kind of overlap the other two. So I'm going to go glue it like in the center, but I want to make sure that I glue this part, not necessarily this, so it's going to be a little bit lifted. Okay, it's going to be like that. We're not gluing it on top of that. We're gluing it on the poster board or cardboard, whatever you use for your roof. That's what we're going to be gluing it on. So we're just going to put glue on the top edge here. And then just glue it down like so. So it's lifted up a little bit like that, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a row of that. Now I'm not gonna completely make it a complete row. I'm just gonna kind of scatter, maybe skip a piece here and there and do it because I want it to kind of look like this brick effect where some of the brick is kind of come off because it's an aged old house. So I want to do the same thing to this one now. If you don't want to give it that aged or old look or like it's falling apart, then make sure you do your little bricks all the way out, covering it, and make sure that you cut little pieces of your little cardboard or poster board enough to cover the whole thing. At the top, don't worry too much about it because we're going to put some snow or something covering up here. So if you can't, you know, you're not going to fit them up here correctly. So don't worry about that. We'll cover all that up. All right. So I'm just going to start putting some of these wherever I feel like there to be roof. I don't know if I have enough of this to completely cover, but like I said, I want it to look like some of them fell off anyway. So that's what we're going to achieve, or at least that's a decision that I made because I know that I don't have enough of that. All right, so I got a little carried away, a little ahead of myself, and I didn't even, wasn't recording where I was actually gluing these little trims around the windows, and then I cut the ones, you know, just some pieces of cardboard to create this frame around the door. So I just basically cut off from this lid part of the box that I had, and then I just cut them to the length that I needed, and then one for the middle. Now when I was adding the one in the middle right here, I did have to kind of like, you know, bend it a little bit, just curve it a little bit, because, you know, it is kind of curved. And I did the same thing with this little window, which I also had to trim around the edge of it to make it thinner because it was a little too wide. And then this top one, I just finished gluing it on. And I also had to do a little bit of a bending because it is curved. So this side kind of wants to pop up a little bit because I didn't bend it enough, but there we go. That is what that looks like. And then I didn't record showing you this, but this is what I've done to the roof. I've just added a few of them. I ran out already, so I've decided that's all I'm going to put on there. So now what I want to do is I want to take some tissue paper, and it can be any color tissue paper. I just happen to have this nice big package of white tissue paper, and I want to save this plastic. Don't throw that away, because we're going to use a little scrap of it, which I've already kind of tested. But then I also want to put the tissue paper back inside of that. Okay, so I'm just going to take some tissue paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut scraps. And you can do it with your scissors, or you can do it just by tearing them like this. Just cut a bunch of pieces in different sizes, small, medium, large, whatever. Okay, just cut a bunch. And once you've done that, you can either use your school glue, white glue that'll dry clear, or you can use a Mod Podge so that we can put the tissue on here. So now we need a brush as well. So I'll go ahead and grab that. And if you're going to use the plain white glue, you might want to put it in a little bowl and then just add a little bit of water so that it's not so thick. So let me go ahead and get all that ready. And I think I'm going to use my school glue this time, and I need to get a brush and a little bowl, so I'll be back. Alright, so I've cut a bunch of tissue paper here. I've cut 2 sheets, and I just have a bunch of pieces here. And I'll probably need to cut some smaller than they are, and I might need more tissue. So for now, I just cut 2 sheets. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time because I don't want to end up wasting a lot of tissue paper. So I've got some glue in here, and also I'm doing a little bit at a time, adding some water to it. And we're going to mix it up just so it's a little bit thinner. It's like kind of like decoupage. And I don't know if you've ever used decoupage, but it's kind of a thin, just a thin layer of glue, like so, kind of syrupy, if you will. So that's what we want. And then we can just start anywhere. I'm going to start going across here, but I don't want it to go onto here. Remember I said don't put anything on the little brim there, because, or the little edge here, because this is where that little lid's going to go. So we don't want to put anything there and thicken that up anymore. So I'm just putting some tissue paper across it, like so. And then just gluing it down. And if it gets wrinkled, that is perfectly fine. I kind of like the idea of that texture. So we're just going to go over even the pieces that have the, you know, that are supposed to be the brick. So just push it into the edges in there, into between the cracks of the, you know, the center where the grout would be on the brick. Just kind of push it in there. And just keep building with your tissue paper as you go. And like I said, let it get wrinkled. That'll be fine. Now, if you decide not to do the little bricks when you're putting the tissue paper, then you definitely want a lot of wrinkle, because that'll give it a like a plaster look. So it'll give your walls like, you know, they've been plastered on. You could actually use actual plaster, you know, crafting plaster, to brush onto here and let that dry. That's another effect you can do. I'm just using this little straight edge on the tissue paper to do the edges here. But like I said, you do want it to get a little wrinkled. It's okay if it rips on you. You can always get another piece, cover that a little bit, and it's okay to overlap it. Double the tissue on you if you really want lots of it on there. Double it on there. This little jagged or sharp edge, I'll just fold it down. And you kind of want to push it between because you do want to have that texture of that little brick that you took the time to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue covering it. I'm not going to cover where I have these little holes, so I'm not going to cover in the window here. I won't worry about these little cross bits. So I'm just going to keep going, and like I said, I'm going to skip that. So I'm just going to go like on the edge of it right here, and then put the tissue paper right there. And there we go. And just push it into the little corners, into the little crevices. This is why we want this to be a little watery, because it'll make the paper push in. With the paper, it'll make it push into your little crevices. Okay, so I have covered this as much as I have wanted to with my tissue paper. So I'm letting this dry now completely. And I've gone ahead because I do have some tissue left over, so I'm just cutting up some smaller bits here. And what I'm doing is now I'm going ahead and just because I feel like I want to use up the rest of this tissue paper, and I want to cover the poster board now with that, and then just put it wherever there's none of these little shingles. Now, if you want to do this, which I highly recommend because it also will kind of basically cover that seam that we put here, just put glue and then just overlap tissue paper. It doesn't matter if it goes all wrinkled, it'll give that some texture now and also give it a little bit more, you know, stability to it and sturdiness. So if you want to do that, you can do that as I'm doing it, but I would probably say, well, do that on here first before adding, you know, your little poster board shingles, or if you find these type of little shingles to put on there, use that. Or you can use like little popsicle sticks and cut them into little bits and use that as your little shingles. Okay, so I'm just cutting little pieces, and I'm just gonna start putting some on there, and I'm just gonna have them kind of like come around the edges. And it's okay if I get some of this Mod Podge on them because I'm gonna end up painting all this anyway. So, or not Mod Podge, but my glue, my glue mixture. So I'm just covering that up and letting the tissue paper, as I cut the little pieces, kind of, you know, wrinkle up a little bit, so that gives me that texture on there as well. So cover everywhere you see poster board. And if you have to cut like little tiny little pieces like that to get them into little corners, and then just do that. See how you can just do it like that. Okay, and remember, we're going to put some snow on here, cover up the top, so don't worry about the tippy bit of it. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this and letting that dry, and then as where I cover all of these little bits, then if I have any little bits left over, I'll add extra ones in there. Okay. All right, so for the house, I have mixed this gray here. So I put some black and some white together. So I'm going to start going into the crevices of my little house here between the bricks and such. I want to give it a sort of a grout look, if you will. So I'm going to go around that, especially around the door here. And actually, I'm going to add a little bit more black to that. I want it a little bit darker. Okay, so I added a little bit more black. I felt like I wanted it a little bit darker. Okay, so get it in there. That kind of creates like shadows back behind the door. I'm going to go right in there as well. And I'm going to paint these little slots here as well. And just get in there. Okay. Anywhere I feel like there's a shadow, also between the bricks. I'm going to use this darker. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that. Again, paint around, and then where the grout between the bricks would be. paint all that. And I'll be back once I get all that done. Okay, so I've painted everywhere that I feel that the dark gray should be for the grout. I'm actually add a little bit more black just to maybe darken some little spots here and there a little bit more. So I'm just going around getting those little darker spots. There we go. I think I did a good job. All right. Okay, so just for the sake of saying that's done, and I've got it everywhere. Now I'm going to go with the lighter gray and paint all the other areas where there wouldn't be any grout, just the, and I'm just going around like this, okay? Wherever I see a smooth spot that's not painted, that I can still see the, you know, the print of the, you know, the oatmeal box, I'll just go ahead and do that. And then I'll come back and touch it up. Okay, so I've gotten all my dark lights and my highlights on here. I'm going to do some more painting to this, but this is what I've done so far, just to bring out some of the details, and then I'll use some white on that. I'm going to do the same effect to this, but this time I'm going to be using some brown, and I've got a little bit of black because I want to darken it up a little bit and make it look kind of, you know, a little bit dirty, if you will, old. So I want to get this paint underneath these little bits here, and some of it on them as well. So anywhere where there should be a shadow, that's where that's going to go, or maybe even some dirt got in there between, you know, some of the pieces. That's where we want to put this black and brown. So I'm just going to do that to the whole thing, and then I'm going to come back with just the brown, and then just add it to the lighter parts, which would be all of this here, all the white that you see right now. And I'll give it the same type of look as this, and then we'll come back and do a little bit more. Okay, so now I've have here the dark and then the lighter brown on there, but then I've gone and highlighted it with an even lighter tone. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of that. In case you're wondering, I'm just using white, black. The brown that I'm using is called a light cinnamon, and then this kind of off-white, this one is called Riviera Tan. Okay, this is from Anita Acrylics. This is Americana, and this is also Anita's, and the white is also Americana. Okay, so I've got my cinnamon and my white Americana, and then the black and this tan here, very light tan from Anita's paints. Okay, put those aside. I'm just going to pick at that tan, very light. I'm just calling it an off-white, and I'm just going over like that, just to give it some light so it doesn't look so dark, and, you know, give it a little more lightness. You can do as little or as much as you want. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and put a little bit more. And the same effect that I'm doing here, I'm going to do it to the house, but with some white paint. And I'm going to make sure I paint the trim here, white, and here, and also the little crossing, and then a little bit on the brick. So I want that to have more white. And then the rest of it, I'm just going to kind of dry brush it with a big brush. And I think I'm going to paint the inside in white as well, because when I put little lights in there, I want to look really light in there. Okay, I'm going to continue on. All right, so I've gone ahead and I painted the inside white. I don't know if you can see that. It's white in there. And then I've also done I've also done a dry brush of the white over the roof part. And I'm doing it on the house as well, so that's what I'm doing. Just grabbing some, this is dry brush. I didn't wet it, so it is completely dry. That's what dry brushing is. So you pick up some of the paint, and then you remove the excess on a napkin or, you know, paper, and then you just swipe it up and down, or just one direction. And I'm mainly going to get it in those little parts in between where there's no bricks. So I get that effect there, that. Get in those little areas where the brush just didn't go in. And there we go. See how it looks a little bit nicer? It doesn't look so dull. So now we're going to decorate this to make it really look really nice and make it into a Christmassy house. Now, what you could do is you could make more windows. You can make square ones or round ones just like this. You know, the lower part, maybe a couple also on the top. But I decided just to do just that one and then the one in the door. Because I really think that this is just going to be the front. I'm not sure where I'm going to place it, but I think it's going to go probably on one of my side tables in the living room, so the back won't be showing. But if you wanted to make it a centerpiece somewhere in the middle of a table, so then maybe you want to make some little windows in the back, let more of the light, whatever you decide to put inside, show through, whether it's a tall battery operated candle or some tea lights or a string of lights, whatever you want to use in there. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. I'm going to let all of this dry really well. Alright, so an hour later, here I am. I'm back, and I'm going to go ahead now and construct my little house and put the roof on it because I really want to start decorating it. I can't wait. Okay, so again, this is going to be the bottom of my house, so that's going to go in there. So I'm going to put it in there for now just to make sure that it, you know, it's still fitting properly on there, and it is. Okay? Because I don't know, maybe all that paint down there, the moisture maybe caused it to expand or shrink, I don't know. And also because I have these little bits here, making sure that they're not in the way. And they're just fine. So, okay, this is the front. And I like this to be the front of my roof. I have the seam back here. So I want this to be the front. It's hard to tell now that I put the tissue paper and such on it. But it's got more decoration up here. So I'm going to do that for the front. I'm going to use this piece of, well, not a piece. It's the inside of a paper towel. It's the cardboard roll that's inside your paper towel. So if you have one of those, you can use this for this particular purpose. And I really don't need it because I could just put some glue on here and then just push this down till it just touches that edge and everything's fine. It's glued. But I thought I'd add maybe just a little bit extra. So I want to glue this in, put it in as far as it'll go, like center it. I don't have this on an extension cord, so I'm kind of pulling it tight. Let's get some more glue sticks here. You need a lot of glue. Excuse me, a lot of hot glue for this. Okay, so we're going to put some glue on here. And then just push it in there. Try to keep it like centered like that. Just push that in there. Ooh, I can feel the heat from the glue. Okay, so now we're going to want to put it here. And obviously it's too long, so this doesn't go all the way down. So we're going to cut a little bit at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go to about where it might be level with this here. Okay, so maybe before gluing it, you try it on there, see how much you need to cut, maybe mark it with a pencil, then cut it, okay? I could pull it out, but I don't want to take a chance at tearing my poster board. Okay, so let's put it on here and see that fits. Now, I can feel already that this is still not, this here is still not touching this. It needs just a tiny bit more. So I'm going to cut into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bunch of little slits into it. And what I'll do is I'll sort of fill in those little slits. Level, even. And that way I can glue that onto here, because if it's all like, you know, uneven, it's not going to glue straight. Okay. Oh, you know what? That works. Haha. And I can't push it any. That's nice and tight. Okay. So let's get some glue here. Let's get some glue on here. All right. So now I've come back around where I've added all the glue here. I'm going to put this one here before it gets all dry. And let's make sure that I have, this is my front, and I want this to be my front. So get it in there. Oh. You know what? Let me feel inside there. Straighten it also because it was a little crooked. Yeah, I can feel the warmth here where the glue that I put on the tube, I can feel it right there. So I know it's touching. Yep. Okay, I got some paint on my hand because obviously the paint that was in there is not dry yet. Okay, an hour later and it wasn't dry. Okay, that's all right. Okay, so that's that, you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to decorate this little piece first before I go any further because I want to make sure that things are going to work. So let me get something that I want to use on here. All right, so I have these wired garland ties. These are from the Dollar Tree. Whenever I see these, I just buy a lot of them. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not. So I mean, sometimes I know that I am, and I may only use one or two from the packet. But I still buy them because they're very useful. You never know if they're going to run out or they're not going to have any the following Christmas. So I always make sure that I get these. All right, so this I want to use to glue around the outer edge here of this lid. So I want to fold or bend actually the garland ties so that they're in the shape of the lid. Just round it off. Okay, once I get it to that point, I can go ahead and hot glue them. And the reason that I want to put that on there is because when I put it on here and I put, you know, and I close it to seal everything, I'm just going to see this brown plastic on the bottom and I don't want to see it. So I'm going to take it off and we're going to see if it all works. So I'm going to glue this on here on the outer edge. So there we go. Just like that. I'm just going to hold it till it's all, you know, dry. Okay, so now this can go in here. Now I'm just going to try to do this where the garland is not in the way. And that works just fine, you guys. Okay, so I'm back and I've got a mess of stuff here on my table. And I've got these little lights, which I've already put some fresh batteries. They do work. They're not very bright, but I think maybe inside of there will be. Now, because they're on a string, I don't want them to all just be like a big clump here on the bottom. I do want to be able to see the lights, you know, through this little window here. So I'm going to take the top here and some masking tape. Let's see. I want it to kind of hang like that a little bit. So actually I'm going to do it like a loop. Okay, these are getting all tangled up here. I'm going to do like a loop like that so they hang down like that. I'll put some masking tape here and then tape that at the very top, and I'm just taping it that way. Like I said, if I need to remove the lights, it'll be easy to do because they're just taped on. So just like that inside of there. Okay, that'll work just fine. And I can see the lights are still hanging in there and I can see them through this little window. Okay, so now I want to decorate. I have these little trees that I got from the Dollar Tree, but they're a little too, you know, they stick out too much and I want them to be right on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this bottom part. As a matter of fact, I have some corks and I think I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go grab a couple of those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shave some of these bits, little branches from one side, little bristles from one side to create a flat like that so that I can glue them like this on each side. And I've got a big one and then I've got a little bit smaller one. I wish I had two of the same size, or I wish I could cut it in like in half, but it's just one piece of wire going down the center, so it's not possible. Okay, I'm just going to cut these a little bit closer like that, and I'm going to put these here, but let me get the corkscrews because I think they'll be great as like the little trunks here. Okay, so I have the corkscrews. I think they'll be great as the trunks, like I said, but I think I would like them to be flat, so let me see if I can cut them with this craft knife and cut them in half. Okay, so it's not the easiest thing to cut, but I got it done. I had to do it a little bit at a time. So I got two pieces now, so I don't need the second one because I can put one of them here, wire bit off with my wire cutters. So I'm going to glue the cork on first because that is so hard to poke the wire through it. I want the tree like about right here because it's kind of big. And then I can put plenty of glue on it. I think I need more glue, but anyway, we'll get it started for now. Okay, getting some more glue in there. Okay, so we're gonna hold this there till it's dry enough so where it doesn't pull off. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with the other little tree and cut off part of it here. that's the easy part. Cut off that little wire because I already know it's not going to go in the little cork. Glue this cork on the other side. Or you can do it on the same side. You can put your trees wherever you want. Put it right over on this side. And then plenty of glue. Make sure your little tree's straight so you can glue it down. A little bit on the sides here. And there we go. Look how pretty that is. And if you have more little trees, obviously you can add more to it. I have these little teeny tiny ones, so I'm gonna also take them off of that little wood part there. These were also from the Dollar Tree. Look, they came like this in a packet, little mini trees. So I'm also gonna cut them, and I'm also gonna trim off on one side the little branches so that I can glue it down. Glue it right here. And see, sometimes one side is kind of squished, so that's okay because we'll cut that part off. And just put as many of these as you want. Okay. I'm trying to get it, not getting it on the garland here, because you know what's going to happen? It's going to get glued to that, and then I'm not going to be able to see. There we go. All right. We'll do this. We'll reserve this and put it on there later, because anything that I put on the bottom, I don't want gluing down to the little, you know, the little bits of the garland here. Okay, so now, let's see. I have this little wreath. I thought it would look pretty right here. Does it look pretty? Or should I put it on the... Yeah, I think I like it around the window, so that's where I'm going to glue it. It had one side that was a little bit flatter, so I'm using that. Now again, this is curved, so it's not going to lay perfectly on there, okay? So maybe just, you know, the glue on the bottom and the top parts. Okay. I think that's good. Be right back. Okay, so I also have these like little pine cones and some little red berries on them. I think that would be cute to put on the wreath, so I'm going to add some of that. I also had this little branch here that I thought, well, maybe that'll work as the berries on there, but I like this. And if you wanted to put a little bow on there, you could, but I don't want to put anything more because it'll just maybe cover that little window, and then you won't see the little light. So I think that's good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this snow here. And I was talking about having the snow in flakes, and it's like this. And it comes in a little bag like that, or you could find it like this one over here. These are actually like little styrofoam balls in there. Maybe you can see that closely. All right, so I'm going to use these little flakes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put hot glue at the tip here, put lots of it, and then I'm going to sprinkle the snow on there. And we'll decorate it a little bit more. I think I'm going to find a little bead or something to put for the doorknob. So we just want this to go down like that. Just lots of it. And let's get that covered first. And then we'll turn it. We'll do the other side and any other little areas that we want some of that snow on. Got the lights in there. I want to do the lights last, but I did them first because I wanted to test them out, and they work just fine. So as long as your lights are working, don't tape them in there yet, or whatever you're going to do, candle or whatever. Don't put that in there yet so that you can do all of this other stuff. Okay, so now I want to put some, let's see, somewhere on here. Kind of let that drip down a little bit. Put some snow on there as well. I actually want way more up here on the top, so get some of that. Get it resting on these little bits here. And you do want it to drip down, okay? see, I'll put some right in here. Okay, so I'm going to do some more of that, and I'll be back, and I'm going to look for a little bead or something to put there as my little doorknob. Okay, so I've put snow in lots of different places. I think I want to put some on the trees as well, a little bit more, because they are painted with a little bit of white. So I don't know if you can see where I put snow, like on the tip there. And then what I did is everywhere, like on the edges here, these little things that I put, wherever it's like a raw edge, I put the snow. So I went all the way around on those little raw edges where, you know, you can tell that it's a piece just sticking out. I hit that with the glue and the snow. I really like it. Look at the little trees on the side. That looks so cute. Anyway, my husband walked in here and he said, wow, that looks like a little elven house. And that was just perfectly what I wanted it to look like, a little elf house, or what did I say, a little gnome house or fairy house. Anyway, that's a great idea for Christmas or any other time if you want to create a little house. Anyway, one that I told him I was going to put lights in there, and he went crazy about that. So I am so happy. It makes me more excited because I am so tired after doing this. So all I'm going to do now is, like I said, is I'm going to put some more snow on the trees here. So they also have that, and I'm just going to do like little strips going down like that. So it kind of looks like a, you know, not necessarily icicles, but, you know, just snow that fell, and it's just kind of running down a little bit of the tree there. So I'm going to do it on the other tree, but there's that tip there compared to the other little tree. See how it's just a little bit of white there, but now I've got a little bit of it's got a little bit of iridescence on them, so they sparkle a little bit. It's really nice. You could add some glitter to it if you wanted to be even more sparkly. Now, another thing you could do that I thought about, and I was going to do that, but remember I was talking about the tissue paper and the plastic around it? I was thinking about cutting like little squares of the plastic and then gluing it from the inside behind the windows to give it that glass, like a pane look. But I think I'm just going to leave it like that, mainly because I'm thinking that by the time I get in there with, you know, the hot glue, I don't want to burn my fingers sticking the plastic on there, and the plastic could possibly melt and, you know, just cause a mess. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. But if you wanted to do that, obviously after you've painted it, maybe a thicker type of plastic, like the plastic from this type of little boxes would be best to use as a window pane. Just cut out the shape and then just glue it from behind. So that's what you could do. Anyway, I have also these little mini Christmas little lights. They're not real lights. They're just, you know, a little decoration for the mini trees or the little Christmas villages and such. My battery's about to die, you guys, so let me go ahead and hurry up. I'm going to go ahead and just randomly hang these on the house here to kind of hang down like that to look like there's lights on the outside of the house. And I did put a little thing there for the doorknob. So I'm going to finish putting some snow on it, dangle some lights on it, and I'll be back so we can finish this off. All right, everyone, many hours later, and my little house is done. So I'm very happy with it. So there it is. The lights are on inside of it. You can't tell, but at the end of me talking, I will do my little video where I pan around it, and I will do it with the lights off so that you can see how the little lights look in there. And look at that. It looks super cute. I did put the little string of lights around it in my haste to recharge my battery. One of my little lights kind of drooped down and I didn't fix it and I forgot about it, and it got stuck down here rather than up here. But I've got it going, you know, up and down ever so often here and there, and that's what it looks like. And then, like I said, the lid part, which is the bottom now, the base, will come off easily. I can turn off the little lights, and if you don't want to use a string of lights, you can use a battery operated candle. I had some little tea lights here as well that I could have used. I just felt like maybe the little light just wasn't like strong enough, so I didn't use that, but I could actually add those in there too and give it even more little lights in there. Okay, so again, if you want to use a string of lights that you plug in, or if you don't want to be opening the bottom, you can do a little hole in the back so you can put the string through so that then you can plug it in, or have the little battery pack out here. You can turn it on and off without having to keep opening and closing it. So there we go. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up and leave a nice comment down below and let me know what you think of my project. I'm very happy with it, so I hope that you will be too, and I hope that you're inspired to do your own creation and come up with your own style of house and the way that you like it and the colors that you like. All right, everyone, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please hit that red subscribe button at the bottom, and then you'll get the little notification bell, which you'll also want to click on that so that you get notified of all my videos as soon as I upload them. Please be kind to each other, respect each other, give each other lots of love. Hey, share my video on your social media. Show your friends how much you love them by giving them an idea like this little house here. All right, everyone, thank you so very much. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and as always, enjoy.